Welcome to SOFBADMONKEY, a safe space for savages. This podcast is comedy. We don't discriminate. We don't care about your race, religion, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We make fun of everyone equally. We are veterans, offensive by nature, so if there's kids in the car, turn us off. Seriously, I'll wait. We've evolved. It's still JD and Uncle Steve, but now we have Paulie. As for Jay, he's fluffing on man porn. We talk like we are in a team room, platoon space, or whatever you call it. We're meat eaters and knuckle draggers, so put on your fucking helmet because we're coming in hot. Welcome to another fucking, welcome to the fucking Rona episode of SOFBADMONKEY with your host, Jason Delgado,
Steve Rauschen,
and Harold Uranus.
Unfortunately, Paulie
Leatherman.
Multi-tool.
Yeah, Leatherman multi-tool.
Leatherman, man.
Leatherman's better.
He's evolved.
He has evolved. He's evolved. Ever since doing fucking the massive games at Mitch Aguiar Smashing Frog fucking 10-day fast, he's killed it.
Yeah.
Killed it. He's a different human. He has evolved for sure.
Dude, seriously, like, you can notice it, man. He's more energetic.
Yeah.
You know, he's fucking all over it during the shoots, man. He's like, dude, admin and logistics all the way, bro. And I need that shit because, you know, my short-term memory is poopy cakes. So,
yeah. That is.
Yeah, dude.
Well, speaking of short-term memory and poopy cakes and Paulie achieving some fucking next-level shit, one of our first guest on this fucking dual-faceted episode, the Rona episode, is in the recovery business. And this cat just happened to drink himself into the recovery business.
Now, when you say recovery business, you don't mean repossession of vehicles.
No, I'm talking about when you are trying to cure depression with a depressant. You know, when you're fucking drinking too much so you can... Well, you're drinking so you can sleep.
Yeah.
And then you're fucking drinking because you can't do anything without drinking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what happens. Guys go over there, they do whatever they do, or they experience whatever they experience, and the next thing you know, they're drinking too much. Or they're taking too much pain medication or whatever.
And to the subject, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that combat situation. We're talking
No,
about firefighters, law enforcement.
Yeah,
even you know people from certain messed up neighborhoods, like one of our guests. We got PTSD from robberies, shootings, all that stuff. So
it's post-traumatic stress is not exclusive to combat vets.
Yeah.
Anybody who has endured a traumatic experience, whether it's a rape victim, whether it's a person who experienced molest at some age or whatever that is. There's all types, like Mike Day. You remember Mike Day? Motherfucker got shot 27 times, and he says he's the first one to tell you everyone has experienced trauma.
Mm-hmm.
And to think or to be egotistical and say that
your hell is worse than someone else's hell,
or that you can categorize somebody else's hell, by reading a book and forming an opinion and not having that experience.
Yeah, let's just say even if there's a numeric value to hell because of an overall consciousness, let's just say even if there was a numeric value and your hell would fucking equate to something higher than someone else's hell. First
nonsense.
That doesn't matter because that individual has nothing to contrast it with. It's just hell.
Right. And you said something earlier when we were talking about a different subject. You said the devil's biggest trick was convincing us that he didn't exist.
Yeah, but I said that's a common one.
Yeah.
But what I feel is the devil's greatest trick of all was to fool us to think he's God.
Right.
So.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a topic for a later conversation. So let's fucking click on Ken Beyer with harborofgracerecovery.com, and we're gonna fucking get him on the show, and it's gonna be good shit. Hey Ken, we did a great introduction on you about harborofgracerecovery.com, and then also Harbor Grace Enhanced Recovery Center. So you're available on both of those taglines on the internet. I did a short introduction about you being a firefighter and then drinking your way into the rehabilitation business. And then we talked briefly about you helping first responders, door kickers, military, police, firemen, whether they're fucking life takers or life savers. You're out there helping all of them. So tell us a little bit about your center and what you do and who you help and where you're at and all that good shit.
Well, thanks, brother. I've been in the field for about 25 years, sober 27. So I used to work at a place called Father Martin's Ashley. He was one of the early pioneers with addiction treatment. And after I got sober, I realized that's a field I wanted to be in, was working with drunks and drug addicts. They're the only people that I related to, actually. I was 58 years old about 6 years ago and decided once I retired, I was going to open up a center and take care of, all those folks you just named, And, it takes a firefighter or a policeman or a vet to know how shitty the job is and what they need. And so our whole staff that works in our first responder program, you have to be one of those people to be able to work here. You got to be either a fireman, a policeman, a vet, a medic, or just to be able to work in that program. And I'll tell you, it really, really works out well because we understand the population. And that's what it takes, So we're getting them from all over the country. We've got about 56 police departments and fire departments that send us all their folks from Georgia to NYPD, FDNY, and every place in between. And we're treating them for PTSD, workplace trauma, addiction to anything, substance addiction to anything.
Right.
And, I just came from a peer support meeting at Havre de Grace Police Department. That's the little town we're in. They let us use their roll call room. And we had 35 guys in there today from 4 to 6.
That's awesome.
They come from all over, to do it. And I buy dinner for everybody. It's not about the money. It's about helping people. So I'm the happiest I've ever been professionally at 64 years old. And I do anything I can. We we meet that patient where they are, and we do whatever we can do to help them get back on their feet, and it's very rewarding. I absolutely love it.
That's good shit. And it's been my experience, I'm no fucking stranger to the recovery situation and the rehabilitation community. I'm also sober coming up on fucking 19 years here.
Well, and congratulations.
Thank you. And one of the hardest things for people that may or may not be in that position, whether it's a fireman or a paramedic or a cop or a fucking soldier, whatever it is, male, female, none of that shit makes it doesn't matter what sex you are. But the point is, the hardest thing to me that I found in my experience is admitting that you need help. Because you've gone here, you've gone wherever you've gone, you've done whatever you've done, you've conquered fucking overwhelming odds to get where you are, and then somebody says, hey, or you get to that point, however, you're having a problem with drugs and fucking alcohol. And the first thing is because you're talking about a super high-performing alpha personality, whether it's a male or a female, and this person's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I've been able to conquer every single fucking obstacle I've ever faced.
Well, and guys like you're not used to surrendering to win. And that's what you have to do with an addiction. That's the only way you're going to do it is to finally admit defeat and say, hey, I can't do this,
Yeah.
Firefighters, policemen, and vets, we don't ask for help. We're the guys that fix everybody else's fucking problems.
Now, and I've said this before. I said, I don't call the fucking cops.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. You take care of business.
Right.
That's right. So, but they're very fragile when they come in here. When they finally do, you have that small window of opportunity to get them help.
Right.
We just got a highway patrolman from South Carolina in midnight this past Saturday, and we picked him up at the airport. But that's when he was ready. Yeah. If waited until the morning, he might have changed his mind and say, "Hey, fuck it, I really overjudged this thing. I don't need any help. I'll take care of it."
Yeah, but that's your clientele. You have first responders, you have police, you have special forces guys. You get fucking everybody in there, and what happens is, in my experience, you finally get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You're like, fucking, okay. Right. This is the one thing that I need help with. And then slowly but surely over time, you start to realize that if you're willing to get vulnerable, anybody that's worth a fuck on the earth is going to fucking value you more, that you've been willing to own that piece of nonsense about yourself fix all the shit that you broke over the course of your existence and fucking get better from it.
And you can, and it takes, like with me, I mean, I lost a marriage over it and got 2 DWIs in 30 days and was losing everything.
Right.
Before the light bulb went off, and my dad came to jail and picked me up, and that's what it took. And I said, Jesus Christ, so there has to be this epiphany, and this is the only disease that we get that has to be self-diagnosed. Right. And that's the difficult part is admitting that. And when you finally do it, and like you've learned in the past 19 years, and I've learned over the past 27, I just got to do a few things right in my life to keep my head out of my ass, and not go back to that. And that's what we do. We're really blunt with the guys when they come in here. We're honest with them. We call it, just as we see it. Most of the people that work here, we have 85 employees working here. We've got 44 beds. But we're honest with them to a fault. We're not here to blow smoke up your ass and tell you how good you are.
Right.
We're here to help, mop up all the crap, and you can get back in the fight, whatever that is.
Well, you can't save your fucking head and your ass at the same time. You got to pick one.
So when you guys are approaching someone like for a regiment, what would it take this individual to be okay and good? Like, is the approach kind of like practice and the same way each time, or is it different with each individual? And how would you know what kind of approach?
When you to try to get them help? Is that what you're talking about?
He's the regiment, to getting them,
He's talking about your in-house program. Like, you get somebody who just shows up, and then you do X, Y, and Z for the first 7 days, and then you do X, Y, and Z for the next 21 days, or however long they're your guest.
Yeah, so Jason, what I typically do, like I've done probably 1,000 interventions in a lot of different police departments. And I recently had one in Baltimore City. They called me at 10 o'clock at night, and the officer, they wanted me to go to his house. They didn't know anything about him other than he was in a tough spot. He was also a vet. And when I walked into his house, he was crying, sitting on the couch. And I said, let me help you, brother. Your wellness folks sent me over. Let me help you. And one of the first things I asked him, I said, do you think you have a drinking problem? And he said, oh, man, I'm a full-blown drunk. Well, that's half the battle. Now there's a lot of things I don't have to do. We don't have to chip away at his denial or any of that stuff. Now, he's already admitted to being a drunk, And I said, why do you think you drink so much? He said, well, I work in Little Iraq. I said, what's Little Iraq? He said, that's Penn North. That's in Baltimore City. That's where all the high crime areas are. He said, I've worked midnights for the past 6 years. We're supposed to have 15 guys on a shift, and we only have 6. I go home every night, and I drink a 30-pack. Well, I mean, there you go. I mean, on the way to the treatment center, I got that out of him, and now I know where we can begin from there. He just needs stability, get him detox. Let's get him in a good, for a 28-day period. We can bring him in here. We can go ahead and start looking at some of that workforce, some of the trauma, some of the PTSD. Maybe he needs to be on a different shift. A lot of different things we'll look at. We'll also get him a good psychiatric evaluation, see if there's any anxiety, depression. We have all those things here with therapists here that deal with trauma and PTSD, and we just peel the onion, Jason. That's how we do it.
The precincts, the organic precincts, or the organizations, are they reluctant to work with you, or they're like willing to?
No, they're all willing to. Yeah, I'm on speed dial for, like I say, 56 different agencies. So when they get somebody that's in a jackpot, whether they got a DWI or whether it was a domestic at their house and there was alcohol involved, or they, it could have been a lot of different ways they get here. But they get on our radar right away. And then if I have to do an intervention, I'll do an intervention. And we do it lovingly, man. We're here to help, We're not here to kick you when you're down. I mean, that's the last thing we do. We want to bring you in here and give you hope. Because the problem is, and you guys know this from being vets, and it's more so in your line of work, is suicide is much more greater than line of duty death.
Yeah.
And that's what we deal with is that, these guys eat bullets before they get the help. And I don't know, what is it, 22 vets a day die or commit suicide?
Yeah, it's too fucking many. That's how many.
It is.
Well, actually, fucking one's too many.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't have to be that way. And, So nothing gives me more pleasure than to watch somebody leave here text me and tell me how they're doing in a month. Take a picture of their 30-day or 60-day chip. They're staying the course. Then they're going out and helping other people. And that's the name of this game, is you give it away to keep it. You know that.
You're absolutely right there. And what I've experienced in that situation is people don't want to admit it. The last thing that you want to do is admit that you have a problem with something, especially your whole fucking life. You've been conquering every obstacle that they've thrown at you. And the last thing you're going to do is like, I can't fucking do this. Are you kidding me?
For me, I feel the biggest part of that is the fear of being ostracized, because you still want to do the job. Come on, it's the only thing you got that really gives you purpose in life at that given time. So,
that's definitely part of it, Jason.
You're acknowledging, damn, you're about to lose the last goddamn thing you care about. So you got to go seek help.
No, I hear you, and that is absolutely a real fear. However, you know as well as I do, a lot of times that fear is shit that you created in your head. It's not a fucking life-threatening situation, because most of the time you're convinced that somebody thinks a certain kind of way, or somebody expects you to be a certain kind of way.
Mental freedom to attain that perspective.
It's fucking hard to get there, and you can't get there sober. Like we talked about this before, and I've shared my story innumerable times. It's fucking mathematically impossible to cure depression with a depressant.
You're right.
You just can't fucking do it.
Yeah,
and until you start doing real fucking shit that you feel good about, like fucking going, hey, I did this when I was fucked up. What can I do to fix that? Not I'm sorry, because everybody's sick of fucking hearing you say you're sorry. This is what I did. What do I need to do to fix that? That kind of shit. When you can actually start doing shit that you fucking feel good about, and you have the ability by talking to people who've done it, by you actually sit down with somebody who has the experience, like we've talked about this before. Don't tell me your fucking opinion about anything, because I don't give a hot bucket of fuck. Tell me your experience. Tell me what you did to conquer this fucking demon. And most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, they'll go back to wherever they work fucking 10,000 times better than they can imagine.
But my point is, I've known that culturally that shit is looked down upon, especially when you go to, because to get to that level, it could have been write-ups already, could have been some,
until that motherfucker comes back born again hard.
Listen, I get it. It's not that it's a bad thing. I just think that we, or those individuals, should encourage that shit and no longer ostracize.
Exactly.
Because it's becoming a problem. It's a real fucking thing.
It always has been.
And they don't know it, but it could happen to them.
Right.
And they don't want, at their weakest moment in life, to want to seek help, but to think, damn, the people I fucking love and value their opinion most are going to make fun of me. Fuck that. Everybody got to just hug each other and say, yo, go get your help. You know what I'm saying? Encourage them.
We also got to find out why they're self-medicating. There's always something else driving the bus. It could be childhood issue. It could be a lot of different things. And you guys with combat, and I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you start self-medicating, and we get to the bottom of that while they're here. But, people have a lot of work to do while they're in treatment. It's not what we do, it's what they do. We create the environment for them to open up.
Go ahead, Jason.
I just to reiterate your point, sorry to cut you off, but I have a lag over here, so I feel like that's why I'm like 2 ears right now.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to play double dutch. So to reiterate to your point, you have to find out what the main issue is to shut. I said it to Steve, to shut the faucet off. You got to stop the water from running, and then you can empty the bucket out. You know what I mean? So. That's important because, these individuals are not going to seek help so many times. You know what I mean? You got to do it right the first time. You got to care.
Well, Steve knows it takes a lot of work. And you got to do maintenance stuff all the time for your recovery. It ain't about abstinence anymore. I mean, what Father Martin used to say at Ashley, he said, look, after 30 days, you don't have a drinking problem, but you sure have a Ken problem. And that's what you got to work on. That's the challenge. It's not the drinking problem. I haven't had a drink in 27 years, so it ain't the fucking booze right now that's causing the problems. It's the other things. And Steve and I know that the same man will drink again. If the situation, all the stars are lined up just right. So that's what we try to do. We try to really, do it medically, psychiatrically. We treat your soul. This is a disease of the soul. And when somebody gets in here, man, we try to take a peek. They give us permission to look at everything, and it's a wonderful thing watching people get well, especially first responders, because we're so beat up when we get in here, and they have been taking care of themselves in a lot of different ways, and it's really neat watching them grow.
And then you gotta lock that away because you can't bring that home. You know what I mean? And then you don't want to like sit down and discuss with the missus, the things you see in the atrocities. So
yeah, that's right.
All that shit is repressed, and that shit just builds up, man. It's nuts. That's
Yeah,
crazy
listen,
to just
4
think
years
about. I
ago,
also think about veterans that think about all that shit compounded with another fucking 10, 15 years on the job. They didn't, where everyone else is seeking help and try to get okay, and the VA and all this, getting ratings and appointments and, that shit, you don't want to do that stuff when you're a police officer because, there's that mysticism, what do you call it? They think there's weakness, something's going on. So you repress all that, plus your experience there. Damn, man, it's a hard life, man.
It is, yeah. 4 years ago, I put my son in treatment, and man, I'll tell you, as long as I've been in this field, I wasn't ready for that,
Yeah.
And,
No, I don't know, but I can semi understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. He got sober, and he's a pilot for American Airlines. So
that's fucking good shit, bro. But one thing is, people when I first got to recovery, I thought that people had to think a certain way. Like, I had so much wrapped up in what I thought I wanted everybody else to think about me. You know what I mean? Because I thought if you only knew this, or if you only knew that, or if you only knew what I'd done over here or done over there, that there's no way that you could like me. Or there's no way that you could think what I think you should be thinking about me. You know what I mean? So we start getting convinced of all this shit that just doesn't fucking exist. And like we talked about, you start drinking so you can sleep, right? Mm-hmm. And then the fucking booze don't work anymore. So you start doing cocaine so you can fucking drink longer. And then you're up for a couple days, and then you can't fucking sleep. So you start fucking chewing up a mouthful of Vicodin at a time, and then that's not working. And so you start fucking taking, vodka, fucking cocaine, Vicodin, pot, whatever, to just try and keep from bouncing off the fucking guardrails all the time. You're just trying to keep it in the middle. And then finally, when the wheels come off the motherfucker, finally, somebody comes in and says, hey, man. And it's never the exact same story. It's like this is what I did.
Yeah, but like he said, too, even going through all that, it takes you to say, yo, I'm ready, bro.
And that's what he's talking about.
Somebody, please take me.
But to your point, Steve, before the wheels fall off, the last thing you do is you go to your primary care physician and say, these fucking antidepressants you're giving me just aren't working.
I'm jamming them in my cock hole, and I'm stomping them flat, and I'm not getting any effect.
Just not working. Can you give me more? So... Yeah, it's just, you're right. You can't take a depressant and drink a depressant and think you're going to be okay.
Well, there was that period there where they were prescribing all those freaking
a suitcase full of shit,
heroin, man. Heroin, Percocets,
and these doctors killed a lot of people, man. They really did.
Man, even some of my bros, because I got. Being in contracting, I got to see individuals that were wounded in combat and come on the job. And those dudes have been prescribed since they got hit, like fucking, the patches for Percocet. And this is, before anyone knew really it's an issue. And it was distinctive. They would fall asleep,
what about those guys who fucking spend years?
I don't blame them, man, because no one knew nothing. And think about it. You're getting it from a fucking physician, dude.
Right.
Right. You're right. Like I said, doctors have killed a lot of people with those things.
Habit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they really have. Yeah. Yeah, so we treat a lot of vets here, and you and I have a mutual friend, and, we try to do whatever we can do to meet them where they are, and we never make it about the money,
Exactly. Well, and like we had talked about earlier, you meet people where they're at. So where are you? You're what, about 3 hours southeast of fucking New York, and you're down there in Maryland, right? So what's your address down there? How do people get a hold of you?
It's 437 Girard Street, Gillard Street in Haverty Grace, Maryland. We're about an hour south of Philly and 45 minutes north of Baltimore. So we pick guys up at Philly Airport or BWI, and we usually send a fireman or a policeman to pick them up. We've had some guys recently from FDNY, and they just drove down. Yeah. One guy took a train. There's a train a train station right here in Aberdeen, Maryland, 5 minutes away.
Nice.
So we're right next to Aberdeen Proving Ground. If you know where that is, it's a big installation right here in Harford County, Maryland.
Excellent. How do they find you online?
HarborofGraceRecovery.com.
And that's HarborofGraceRecovery.com. And you're down there in Haverty Grace, Maryland. And what's your phone number again?
443-502-8606. Or they can call my cell. I mean, if it's a vet, they can call me. I don't care. You have my cell number, so if you want me to give it.
Because I don't want a bunch of fucking wackadoodles calling you. So if anybody's interested in it, reach out to me and I'll give you Ken's fucking cell phone number.
Yeah,
so,
there you go.
So you said something earlier. You paid for. I'm taking that you pay for a lot of this on your own. Are you getting help?
Yeah. So no, my partner and I, a guy I got sober with, we did this together, and we're just very fortunate. We don't have any debt, and we're able to help people. And so if somebody has insurance, main insurance, like we take all the Blue Cross policies, FEP policy, the Federal Blue Cross, Aetna, and Cigna, the big ones. But a lot of these guys have co-pays and things. We waive them, I mean, we're just not going to charge them, or if there's any other fees affiliated with it, we just don't charge them. We just try to, like I say, whatever the insurance pays, we accept it. And if it stops after day 20, we call it a day.
Right.
And like I say, we're here to help them. I want to see them go back home and get back in the fight.
All right, Ken. Well, I got to tell you, man, love you, bro. Sincerely,
Thank you,
sincerely appreciate everything you're doing and what you're doing to help our great nation, what you're doing to help our first responders, man. And anybody we can point in your direction we're going to, we're going to sing out your website and talk about your facility. So, man, thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate you, bro.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Jason, thank you very much, brother. We'll see you guys soon. Take care.
You take good care, bro. I'll reach out to you later, Ken.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Same to you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good fucking dude, huh? How about that shit?
Yeah, man. That's very commendable, dude.
Yeah, fuck yeah. If they don't... Say, for example, the insurance company only keeps you in there for 20 days. They keep you another fucking 8 or 10 days, and they fucking pay for it.
I guess I was curious. I wanted to know, because with money, with funding, you have certain prerequisites in order to prove funding. Like, and this would be curriculum. Like, you guys got course. Do you got prescribed lengths, like, like with the freaking the green fast, there's a 5-day, the 10-day, 12. Like, is it for that whole thing? You're coming in for a 12-day, or you're just coming into you're good indefinitely?
No, I think it's normally a 28-day program.
Oh, okay.
Long enough, because when you come in there and you're addicted to alcohol, they have to medically wean you off the alcohol.
Same thing with meth
and this with all the fucking heavy narcotics and alcohol. Your body, it changes your biology, and you're physically addicted to it. And if they don't chemically detoxify you from that substance, you could fucking die.
Yeah.
So they have doctors on the facility. They have all that shit. You heard them. They got fucking 85 people in 44 beds, and he treats primarily first responders. Shit, so, I mean, it's a fucking big deal. He's a solid cat.
It sounds like for what he started with,
right?
There's been an uptick.
Big time. And there's going to be more of an uptick.
And it's not like he can turn him down, right? He's like, fuck him in, man.
Well, dude, he's all the way in. All the way in. Like, and I'm not going to say the guy's name here, but a guy very similar to me, former fucking team guy. I did all the stuff, did fucking contracting. Jesus Christ, he's still fucking doing it. And he called me, and he was having a situation, and he just wasn't ready to fucking say, hey, man, I seriously need help. I need to check myself in. So he would call me 1 week, and then a fucking month later call me from some other geographic location, and a month later call me from some other fucking place. And then later, like a week ago, he called me. He's like, hey, bro. I'm like, hey, man, what the fuck's up? How are you? And he goes, I'm fucking sober. I'm sober fucking 30 days, and I want you to talk to this guy, Ken. So Ken and I got on the telephone, and he was, fucking nervous and shy and shit. And then we started talking and talking and talking. I was like, bro, you should come on the fucking podcast, especially now what's going on. People helping people. That's like we talked about earlier,
promote
man.
More of that.
That's where the fucking juice is.
Dude, all this negativity starting to beget.
It's too much.
It's just fucking nuts, man.
It's too much.
You see it circulating with fucking force, man.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
And you know what's funny too? The fucking media refers to the media, and they don't fucking, for some reason when they speak, they don't think they're including themselves. You ever heard that shit before? Like an anchor saying, and yeah, or fucking one of the op-ed fucking buttholes. They'll say something like, and the mainstream media is pushing this initiative that.
It's like Caesar talking about himself in the third person.
Yeah, I'll be like, whoa, mother, am I not on a news channel here? I'm confused. Is he talking to himself in third person? That's even weirder.
Well, it's
a third person speech.
Well, it's just it's the same. It's the same thing. It's like they're saying that they're above that shit. Yeah. Like that's how fucking delusional they are. They're not. And what I hate to see is, and our next guest is doing the fucking deal, bro. And we're going to see that next. What you never see is the good shit, because it doesn't drive fucking advertising revenue. It doesn't, and we're, in the middle of this.
We need to remind everyone of the reason why we get up in the morning, the reason why these fucking cogs in this machine spin. Because of the good that also comes from it, not just the bad. You got to take the good with the bad. Everybody knows everything in life is a balance. Yin and yang. Okay? It really is.
Right on. I'm down with that, sickness.
At the end of the day.
At the end, like we talked about when all this fucking shit was starting. You're like, you know what, man? Sometimes the two fucking biggest dogs in the neighborhood, sometimes you just got to let those motherfuckers fight it out.
And then you put it, in that same instance, you have one of the dogs talking about, that's not how we do this. We're above this. We're the greatest nation. We don't do. Boy, first off, how the fuck you think we got here? Plenty of crazy indiscretions. You motherfuckers liberated yourselves. You abducted from. You abdicated from the fucking. The Queen's fucking realm.
Right, exactly.
In a fiery fucking revolution, a fiery and bloody one. Talking about revolts and fucking riots. These sons of bitches flipped a bunch of tea into the balls. That shit cost money. Somebody had to pay for that motherfucking tea. Right. Y'all don't give a shit. It worked though. Right? Come on.
No, it did.
And now you over here saying we don't. That's all we do. What we don't do is encourage people not to do that shit. Exactly. By making them feel it's all right and they're safe. Nah, we want to do the opposite. We like that shit. It's in our blood.
Exactly. Our next guest is a dude named Dillon Cooper, the tattooed teacher on Instagram. Nice. You'll see this cat covered with tattoos from his neck down.
I like him already.
Former Army guy in Iraq from 2010 till 2011. Did the cleanup before we brought most of the people home. And then he got out, started teaching at a juvenile detention facility, got all of his teaching stuff, went to college, did all that shit. High school teacher, got out, saw that the inner city kids were an underserved community, and is doing a bunch of great shit to help inner city kids. But fucking spent a year turning and burning on a telephone to raise money to get this building. So went and got this building, enlisted the help of a bunch of kids, and fucking built a facility. It's good shit. It's called The Outpost in Wewoka, Oklahoma. Dillon Cooper, man, fucking reach out to his ass. He's awesome. The tattooed teacher on Instagram.
Give him a ring, Garoni.
There you go.
Dillon, talk.
Check.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, now we got you fucking lumpy chicken, tough guy. How the hell are you?
Doing good, man. How are y'all?
Doing great, thank you very much. I did a quick intro for you, but Dillon Cooper, the tattooed teacher on Instagram. I talked about you being in the Army for a brief bit, a year in Iraq over there doing cleanup, and then coming back home, jumping into college, and then jumping into a juvenile detention facility as a teacher, getting your degree, going out and doing regular teaching, and kind of where you are now, helping inner city kids. So what is the name of your organization?
So right now, the name of my facility is The Outpost. But I have a nonprofit that I started in 2016 that it's under, and my nonprofit is called No Surrender. And I started it to help with suicide prevention and stuff like that. And then once I realized I wanted to get my facility, I used that to kind of spearhead my mission here.
Excellent. So, where are you from originally?
I'm from right here in Oklahoma, Wowoka. The town where I facility is where I was actually raised, so it's pretty cool how I ended up back here, you know.
Very cool. And we talked for about an hour a couple days ago, and you had talked about your whole time growing up. It wasn't uncommon to have a couple of your friends living with you. So go through that scenario a little bit. Tell us a little bit about your mom and dad and family life and how you got into giving back at such a young age, and how that's always been part of who you are and what you got going on.
Yeah, man. So where my facility is, where I grew up, I think the poverty rate's right around 40% now, and then the number of resources for kids outside of school is pretty much zero, and it was like that growing up too. So I seen a lot of my friends grow up in environments at home that weren't that great. There were times we would drop my friends off after football practice and they wouldn't have electricity or running water, shit like that. So my mom and dad would always, anytime they knew one of my friends needed a place to stay, or if they knew they weren't being treated the right way, they'd always come stay with me. So it was just, for me, it was just kind of the norm to, look out for people when they're not put in the best situation. So really it wasn't anything my mom and dad told me. It was just the shit that they did. I grew up watching them do all this stuff selflessly, so that it just kind of became a part of who I am.
Nice. So that happened the whole time you were growing up, the whole time through high school, the whole deal.
Yeah, man, and hell, I don't want to make it sound like every kid here is poor and has, a shitty home, but yeah, from the time I was in elementary to the time I was in high school, I would always have friends that needed something at home. My mom would I remember around, prom, my mom would help some of my friends get suits and stuff like that, just because some of them, don't have the mom and dad at home that a lot of kids do. So it was never, consistently I would have a shit ton of friends, staying with me, but it was pretty common all throughout, even going into high school, that I would have, some friends that would come stay with me if they needed to, and my parents would always just look out for them, So really, my mom and dad, they were my mom and dad, but they were a lot of my other friends' moms and dads too. So it's kind of cool because now I've kind of taken over this other row here.
Like he was saying, that they didn't do it for praise.
Right.
I mean, and he noticed that. That was his observation. And the thing is, with the parents, they're already experienced enough, and at that point in life when they know if someone's coming over that much for dinner and their parents ain't saying nothing about it, hey, yo, this kid needs, you know what I mean? They're gonna do their part.
Right.
If they can, they will. And he said he grew up in that, so to him, it's like what you do right now basically is, to you, there's no other option. So you got to do.
Yeah, man. And then a lot of it, I would go to my friends' houses and realize that they were living totally different from the way we were, So I'd go back and tell my mom, because I, young and naive, you think growing up that all the kids have it made, but then you learn at a young age that they don't. So I remember, going home and telling my mom, hey, we didn't eat anything. She'd be like, hey, what'd you have for dinner? Oh, we didn't eat. They didn't have, shit like that. And then, so I experienced it too from that sense. But yeah, like you said, they did it for the right reasons. I mean, we live in the world nowadays where everybody wants to get credit for everything. Back then.
And not, not to sell yourself short either, but I think it's pretty cool. You learned it, exercising it first because your parents told you to, and you just grew up in that nurturing home where you felt it was natural, but you started it that way, and then you learned the reasons why after. That's cool. Vice to, being a douche and then finding out someone had a hard time later and you just contributed to some douchey stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's cool,
Right.
man.
So you were in the Army for 5-ish years, and then you got out. So you got out and you come back to Oklahoma. So what did that look like?
So coming back, I wanted to finish college because I wanted to get into working, with kids, but I never wanted to work with kids that came from the best environments. There was just something about me that I've always been pulled to people that are like broken. So I wanted to help with counseling for adults, but my passion was with kids. But like right now, I still help with interventions because I'm a nationally certified interventionist. So I help with different agencies. But just from learning stuff in the behavioral health field, I realized that if I really wanted to make a change, it starts with the kids, because there's so many kids that are broken going in to the real world. So when I got out of the military, I knew I wanted to work with kids. I just didn't know in what shape or form that was going to be. I knew that I could possibly do teaching, but I knew my style of working with kids isn't what most schools like, because I like getting in the trenches with kids. I like getting to know them. I like knowing them on a personal level. And, our education system, unfortunately, isn't set up like that. So for me, when I got out, when I started working at the juvenile center, it was perfect for me because everybody told me the place was fucking out of control. The kids would beat up the staff would abuse the kids. So for me, it was like an ultimate test of, okay, if I really want to do this shit, like I want to get into the thick of it and see what I can really create, because I always felt like I had this calling, like I had a special set of skills when it came to working with kids. So for me, this was kind of like the proving ground. So I was excited about working there, starting there, as much as, so many people tell me I was batshit crazy. But for me, going to school and studying psychology and counseling and shit like that, it was perfect for me because I knew I had real world experience. I grew up around that type of environment with my friends. So for me, it was a perfect situation to get my feet wet.
So what kind of kids were primarily in that facility?
So every kid was court ordered to be there, meaning they didn't have a choice. It was ran in the structure of Department of Corrections. The facility I was at, they had 68 residents total, and the kids I worked with, I've worked with some that were in there for attempted homicide, accessory to homicide. I had kids that were in there for drug charges. I worked with kids that were sexually abused. Then I worked with kids that were the people that were sexually abusing people on the outside. So I really got to work with a wide range of kids, from, ex-gangbangers to kids that had schizophrenia and stuff like that, which was perfect for me. But then once I got promoted and I transitioned to the treatment side, that's when I got put in charge of my own unit. And from there is when I had to develop their treatment plans, their court reports. I was basically
That was on request.
in charge.
You requested to move over to the treatment side?
Yeah, so I knew that was my next step. I liked getting in the trenches with them with direct care, which direct care meant I was just their fucking babysitter for 12 hours, So I would work with the kids, but the way the system was set up, it was like, well, you're not on the treatment side, so you can't tell these kids how they should handle shit, stuff like that, by people that went to college but never experienced shit on their own, So for me, it was like,
very few. Sorry to cut you off. This lag, it's crazy, but I have to interject. Very few continue after that point. They let that stop them. You said, oh, well, that's what I want to do, so fuck it, then I'm going to transition over there. You went ahead and did it. They were just chastising you, and you were like, oh, thanks for the pointer. That's how I do it.
Yeah.
Commendable.
Yeah, and then that a lot of the staff didn't the direct care didn't go to college, or they didn't want to, move forward with their own self-development. So for me, I knew long-term I wanted to transition over to the treatment side. And then once I did, I got put in charge of the worst unit that was there at the facility.
So how did that go? When we talked earlier, you had discussed that some of these kids, they were there and they were getting, like, if they got a counseling sheet or something else, say, for example, the kid said fuck or told somebody off or something stupid like that, then this write-up could result in that kid actually doing some real fucking prison time in real prison.
Yeah.
So we had talked about how you had spoken to your other staff members, your peers, and informed and maybe set up a different type of rapport with the students and with the staff. How did that come about?
Well, it's funny because my first official day, of course, my mom being a nurse and do it by the book, she wanted me to dress all pretty and shit like that. So, but most of the kids already knew who I was because I'd been there for around a year. So this group of kids, my first day, they were actually outside playing basketball on rec. So I walked up and I was like, yo, what's up? Who's got next? And they looked at me like I was fucking crazy. And I was like, I'm hopping on one of y'all's teams. So my first day there, I played fucking street ball with these kids for like 2 or 3 hours before I even really met them, because that's just the type of rapport that I wanted with my kids. And then once we finally met and I told them a little more about myself, I took the complete opposite approach. Most people, they go in there and say, hey, I'm not here to be your friend. You may not like me, this and that, but this is how it's going to be. I really took the opposite approach. I went in and I was like, hey, I know y'all's in some situations that aren't favorable. And I know a lot of you came from environments that,
took it serious. I want to say you took it seriously. The others took it as a job.
Oh, yeah.
How much are you going to allow being shy or cowardice, to dictate your impact in what you want to do? That's just, okay, I was in the neighborhood handing out flyers, but none of them called. You said, nah, you approached this for like some, investigative, wildlife, observer. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to see what's up. I'm going to play ball with them. I'm going to strike up conversation, see where their head is, and then build some rapport. Hey, you took it serious. There was no failing for you. So that's why, you cared about it.
Yeah, man. And then I would find the kids that ran the unit, kind of like in prison, on the yard, like who the OG is and the shot caller and stuff like that. So I would find the kid that ran the unit, supposedly, the kid that was leading the pack, and I'd bring him in and I'd let him know, man, hey, if we can go a week without nobody getting in trouble, we can do this, but I'm holding you accountable. Like, I'm giving you the reins to this unit. And then in that moment, even though it wasn't an actual position, he felt a sense of entitlement, like he was proud to be on that unit. So then he would help keep the other kids in line. And then the staff that worked with me, I would have them take the same approach. Like every week we would do different groups where we just talked about normal shit that wasn't mandated by the state, because I wanted my staff to get to know my kids on a deeper level, because until you do that, you don't know when a kid's acting out of character. You don't know if he's just upset or what. And that's why a lot of kids end up getting in trouble for shit, because the staff don't understand that it's part of the environment. It's like, look, I'm a fucking realist. Like, if you get put in that type of environment, I'm not gonna act like it's the end of the world because I hear a kid say shit or fuck. Like, that's part of life, And I would have these talks with my staff and let them know, look, before you write these kids up, I want you to think whatever paperwork you hand to them, if that's worth their fucking future, because that's what it's gonna be. Because every kid I had, they were youthful offenders, which meant they were down to their last strike. So something simple, like a minor rule violation for cussing or slapping another kid, that could literally result in kids being put in prison. And I've seen that shit happen a lot.
So what you would do is you would empower the kid who's running the block or whatever the fuck it is, because I don't know the fucking terminology, so I'm just going to use that. So you would make hold this one person accountable, but not like saying that you're the fucking, the command drill sergeant or whatever the fuck. It's just like, hey man, I know that you're fucking running the deal here, but if we can go a week without anybody getting slapped around or fucking bloodied up, then we'll be able to fucking, another half hour of basketball, whatever the fuck it is. So what you did,
they're able to build a community with a rank structure and appreciation,
right?
And that way they can handle a lot of the stuff on their own. What you're doing is you're building a society,
a relationship with these
you're
kids.
Also building society with rank structure, because that one person from there, you will empower him to keep shit in check. Case in point,
what's going to happen naturally, fucking anyway?
You have a much more opportunities for diplomacy.
No, absolutely. I agree.
And there was also some mind fucking that went on. I would find the main kid that was letting shit slide, and I'd be like, "What's up, man? I thought you ran this shit." I do. And I'm like, it doesn't fucking look like it. We're getting in trouble every fucking week because y'all know how to act. I thought you knew how to handle shit. And then the next day, those kids were fucking turned around because that kid, I gave him that role. And before long, man, they were holding each other accountable. But it all started with building a rapport with the kids. Like, to this day, I can still tell you every one of their fucking birthdays by memory, just because that's how much time I invested in them. And that's what it took to get them to buy into what I was trying to do. Because what the staff don't realize is a lot of those kids came from homes where their mom or their dad treated them like fucking shit. The last thing they want is to be put in a facility where they're treated the exact same way by a complete stranger. So I would always remind my staff of that, So
you approach it from a place of rationality,
Yeah.
Especially with giving people positions amongst your staff. I mean, if you saw a person's heart wasn't in that specific task, you're not going to put them there. You're going to put someone enthusiastic about it, because they're going to try to think of how that was the best way to approach it, and not how do I get this done the fastest. You know what I mean? Yeah,
we went from that unit. It was so bad before I got there. It was put on lockdown for like weeks and weeks at a time. Like, kids couldn't even stand up and move unless there was like security there, because there was like so much friction and shit going on, And then after a month, dude, we were getting like unit of the month where they could get pizza parties and shit like that, and
that's fucking good shit.
All the head honchos were trying to get me to explain it to them, and it's just the simple human nature, And that's why I tell people is I think we can become so educated that we get fucking stupid. Like, we forget the fundamental concepts of just being a good human, because we study so much about how to approach shit, and we forget that at the end of the day, we're just humans dealing with other humans,
My thought on it is a little bit more nefarious. I don't believe everyone has the same capacity to mitigate and understand the bigger picture. I think that's a gift, and unfortunately, the latter, the other, they still need jobs too. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, look at everything that's going on right now. You think those officers were thinking about the report, thinking about their actions, thinking, hey, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't give a fuck. That shit didn't have to get to that point. My point is, not everybody deserved to be there, and everybody admit that shit.
Yeah.
But no, my point is,
he's got a fucking gift.
Yeah, he's got a gift. Think about it. Like, you didn't choose the side of law enforcement. No, I'm sorry. You didn't choose the side of corrections.
The institution, yeah.
You didn't choose the side of personal advancement, the job only. Let me get off of work. And at every point, your agenda was, let me get to these kids. I think I got this. To the point where, you were, and albeit your bosses recognized that in you because they put you in that position. And I'm sure you expressed interest in it. How many years you did that for?
So I did that. I was there for a total of 3 years, but it's like I tell my kids, if there's something you want to change, you're going to have to put in a lot of fucking work. So for me, I'm not a fan of the system, the way kids are treated in those systems. So for me, the way for me to go to war with the actual system was to get in the system and to do what I could in a legal and professional manner to create the change that I wanted to see, you know, in the same way with teaching in the public education system. You know, I haven't seen a lot of good teachers. I've seen kids from this area be failed by the education system. So instead of bitching and complaining about it on Facebook, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to become a teacher and coach, and I'm going to be the best fucking one I can so I can create the change, you know, when it comes to the issues that I'm bitching about.
So what was one of the straws that broke the camel's back at that fucking juvenile detention center that told you had to get the fuck out of there? Can you say that or no?
Yeah. So I had a kid that was ready to be released. I worked with this kid on a very personal level, and he went from possibly having to do 5 years in prison to, once his treatment was over, he's going to get out with no restrictions or anything like that, because he completed the treatment that I designed for him, you know, and he did so good off of it. But on the day that his discharge was coming up, I got an email from the higher ups that said, hey, we can't release him until we get another kid to fill that bed, because that's how we get the funding. So from me, I didn't see it as a young black kid that couldn't get out. I seen it as someone trying to fuck with my son for no reason. So I took it as they're trying to fuck with my family. Like this 15-year-old kid that's got his whole future ahead of him. He did everything you fucking asked for, and now you're not going to let him out because we need the funding. So I saved the emails and everything. I printed them out just in case anything went sideways. And I went home and I talked to my mom about it, because she's always been my biggest fan, but she'll always be my biggest critic, you know. She'll shoot it to me straight. And I told her, like, look, I love my kids, but I can't be a part of the system that does this. Like, I felt I was a part of it, you know. And even though it's people above me, I still have to go home at night and look at myself. And I'm just not going to allow that stuff to happen, you know.
Here you have on all fronts individuals that are going at this as hard as they should, right?
Right.
Especially in an institution that claims its primary purpose is to reintegrate and reeducate, right? You have both willing parties execute this phenomenally to a level where both of you are extremely confident. One, he leaving and being successful in life and owning his shit. Finally, someone got to him, and he believes again because he felt at some level that he was instilled that trust once again.
Connection with fucking
that
Dillon.
Connection with him. And then you, every waking motherfucking moment and energy and word you spend on this kid to get him to believe in the world again and to believe in the system again. One that he was taught not to trust, and you're over here lobbying for that system, and at the end of it, both of you are taught a very valuable lesson.
Right. And I kept that paperwork, and I kept the paperwork and the email, and I framed it, and it's still in my living room, because there's days where I wake up from doing all this and I'm just completely fucking overwhelmed, you know, because it's a lot to take on. And then when I see that, I'm like, dude, there's going to be more and more of this shit. Like, I got to put my shit aside and just keep moving forward.
That's very traumatic, dude. That's like all your effort and energy put into something, and your reward, your prize, your pot of gold was fucking moving and affecting change in a person's life that otherwise wouldn't have. And they stole that from you too, bro. That's crazy.
Well, the saddest part was when I went to the meeting and everyone was just so casual about it.
Yeah.
They was like,
it wasn't a person's life they ruined. It's just a job.
Yeah, they was like, well, it's just 3 weeks, man. I mean, if he was here 9 months, he can wait 3 weeks. As these people drive off in their expensive cars, their luxuries, shit like that. And then I have to go back and tell this kid, it's not time to go yet. Let your mom know, because... And then they wanted me to make up this fictitious story. And then for me, that was my my final straw. So I was like, you know what? I'll find another avenue to work with kids. But that was probably one of the hardest decisions that I've ever had to make, because I spent, my unit had 15 kids that I was in charge of. But I was always around that facility on other units too, talking with different kids, because I'd been there, for 2 years. So it wasn't like it was just my kids. It was pretty much everyone at the facility I was really cool with. So I had to say goodbye to all those kids, and then I had to realize that I'm leaving them in the hands of people that didn't care if they got better or not, and that's what hit me the most,
And yeah, and in reality, one man could affect change, but never for the better. In this world, one man could affect change for the worse always, but for the better?
Nah,
you know how many fucking haters he has to go through to make all the effort he put into that?
A whole fucking system full, a whole
to make
fucking
that
country
fucking
through.
justified,
Yeah. I'm with you.
It would never happen. It's impossible. It's like you going to the fucking daggone bank or going to a bank and asking for $100,000 loan, and you gotta fucking put every paperwork and then give your rights to your firstborn, and they'll say no, but then you go to the dealership and get $100,000 debt for a car. Easy, bro. They'll find someone to give it to you.
No, I got you.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same point. It's crazy. It's fucking nuts, dude.
So how did that? So on your last day, how was that, man?
Well, I didn't get to say goodbye to my kids, and here's why. I think the leadership knew I was about to leave, So I went to this meeting. With all the big dogs. They came down, and it probably couldn't have happened at a worse time, because that was the day I was gonna let them know, like how the fuck I felt about them. So we went in this meeting, and they were telling me how, hey, we heard you're doing so good with the kids, you're turning this place around, and it was all cool. And then I was like, all right, well, hey, I need some stuff I need to talk to you all about. And it was people from higher up, and like, oh, what is it? And I'm like, the way we're treating kids here, And they're like, well, like, what is it? And that was a huge issue. But there was all kinds of shit, like kids not getting reading glasses, kids walking around with shoes that had fucking I could go on and on. But I told them, I was like, hey, I'm not cool with keeping kids here because we're not going to get money. Like, I didn't sign up for that. And the main director that ran the whole state was like, well, what do you mean? We don't do that. And I pulled out the emails. And I'm like, look, this is what I'm being asked to do. And then he looked at the people in charge of that, and then they looked at me like, wow, you're just going to like throw us under the bus, So I let him know. I'm like, look, I appreciate the opportunity here, but if this is what y'all's about, I can't do it. But I brought these papers so you can all see it.
Yeah.
And then they got
you would rather quit than give them the satisfaction of calling you crazy. Even though they're the ones that were using bylaws and policies and fucking bullshit that lazy motherfuckers that don't want to do their job hide behind to commit fucking atrocities and indiscretions. And there's some bad negativity juju going on in here, and they're doing it, but they're not owning it, and they're hiding behind and you just realize the fight is done here. This motherfuckers, there's nothing here to do.
And what the saddest part was after all that happened, they was like, yeah, just go ahead and take what vacation you had.
Trying to make it seem crazy.
They was like,
he's a realist motherfucker there. He ain't crazy.
Yeah, they were like, look, you're not terminated. You said you're about to quit. You can still come back anytime. We appreciate everything you've done. And then I was like, well, I want to talk to my kids. And it's like, well, we don't think that's a good idea.
Crazy,
and then on the radio, I heard him say
they didn't want to martyr you.
Well, no, on the radio, I heard a call for security to go to my office to probably look for other shit.
Kids
that I had.
probably revolting to see you.
So
they didn't want to martyr you, and they didn't want to inspire the kids with positivity. Instead, they would take their revolt and your heartbreak. That's the world we live in.
So here's the saddest part. I leave that night 3 people from that room that didn't say a fucking thing called me. That's so fucked up, man. Like, they should have did this. I'm like, why the fuck would you not step up and say anything? Well, man, like, I got kids and this and that, but yeah, fuck those people.
The cowards.
The same people.
The people that are just
they're
there for
in the
work.
room. Yeah, and then the director called me and he goes, "Hey, man, I hope you don't take it personal, this and that."
Peddling.
And I go, "Hey, man, I'm not, but I just want you to know, every paperwork I've filed for the past 2 years, I have it. It's all at my house." And that's when the whole mood changed. He went from like that to, oh fuck. But I told him, look, I'm not gonna hang you up to dry because the world's gonna have its way with you somehow. It's called karma. So last year, that entire administration ended up going under investigation, and they all got fired.
Nice. Fuck yeah.
Which I hate to see people go unemployed, but it made me feel better, like I made the right decision, because there were still nights where I'm like, man, these dudes, they have to be held accountable. And what happened is one of them was sending an email to one of them talking shit about the higher ups, and they sent it to the whole State Department. So it was like one big shit talking email that everybody got. So yeah.
That's fucking awesome, bro. Well, you can't. I don't know if you'll be able to see on the image when we. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it up on YouTube, and we're gonna have some graphics and shit. We're gonna show your fucking place. But Dillon is covered from tattoos from his neck the fucking whole way down. So right after this, you go and work for the high school that you graduated from, right? You get a call from them. So tell me about that.
You look like a lizard.
He does.
Yeah.
He looks fucking great, man.
Yeah, so we're in the Bible Belt here, so tattoos are more acceptable, but we're still kind of a little behind here. When I left the facility, I didn't know what to do. I liked working with kids, but I was never going to work for a system like that, and I knew most of the systems were ran like that because I'm not stupid. And then I got asked about teaching and coaching at the high school I went to. And my first thought was, I don't know anything about teaching. And then my second thought was, I have way too many fucking tattoos. So when I talked to the guy, the principal, he was like, yeah, man, we're having the normal issues. Like, we have a hard time keeping teachers here because the environments our kids come from. It's normal for a kid in the high school to tell a teacher to go fuck themselves. And then they get a detention and this and that. And most of it comes back to the environment that kid has to live in every day, and then they go to the school and release it, and then it's just this cycle. So I showed up for my interview, and I told him on the phone, I'm like, look, I have tattoos, I'm just letting you know. And he was like, oh, it's cool, we have a lady with a half sleeve and this and that. And I'm like, all right, cool, like whatever. So I showed up, and they looked at me like I was like a fucking inmate, they're like, hey, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm here for my interview. They're like, who? And I was like, I'm Dillon Cooper. And you could tell they're like, oh, yeah, like, oh, you do have a lot of tattoos. Like, oh, I mean, yeah. And I was like, I told y'all I had a lot of tattoos, but they liked that I worked in the juvenile setting. They liked that I'm from here, so I can speak that language. But I went to college, so technically I'm qualified to do all that. So I knew the type of teachers that school needed. So I basically took the same principles from the juvenile setting. And
no matter how uncomfortable it might have been for you to get in the door there, you got in the door, and that says to speak a lot about the staff there, or at least your management, and they're willing to take that uncomfortable. I saw, oh my God, I got to get this guy to parent-teacher night, and all, because they knew you had a talent. They're willing to see what you got. So that means off the gate, you had more resources dedicated for the advancement of those children than the latter situation.
Yeah. And I remember when they had the school board to hire. It has to go through the school board to hire new teachers, and one of the people just did not like my look. They didn't like the tattoos.
Yeah, whatever.
And they were like, no, it's a fucking no-go. And the two people that stood up for me were people that you normally wouldn't think. And they're like, no, this is what we need. We need outside the box thinkers. We need people kids are going to relate to. We need someone that's lived a little. Like this is the type of stuff that we need. So yeah, luckily they gave me
It's a
opportunity.
double-edged sword for me. You know, all these tattoos. If I can't get in the door somewhere, I really have to ask myself, do I want to be in there? You know, if you got a boss that is willing to hire you, at least you know at the very top of the fucking pyramid, he likes you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you also got to think that you're pretty fucking handsome, unlike me, and you have a cool ass accent. So me, I'm just not like that.
So you're in there. You're the coach, and you're the strength and conditioning coach, and then they put you in with the alternative education program in there. So how's that go down?
So yeah, my first year, I'm teaching psychology. I'm running the alternative education department, and I'm the strength and conditioning coach for the whole high school. So alternative ed basically means kids that they can't handle. Some of them are kids that couldn't go at normal hours because they had a baby. But when it came down to it, these were kids that the teachers just couldn't deal with. So they put them in alt ed, and they just have a different schedule from like the normal kids. So I was teaching 2 classes, and then I was in charge of the alt ed at the same time. So yeah, I had a full plate. But those kids weren't troubled kids to me. They were just normal kids, you know. And it goes back to the same shit in the juvenile setting. Like nobody took the time to get to know these kids. All they know is that they cussed out Miss So-and-so down the hall, but no one talks to them about their home life. Nobody understands that he hasn't seen his dad.
Blew your mind that nobody did what was supposed to have been done, or it's logical. Everybody knows, oh, hey, does anybody try to reach out to these kids? They probably have no influences in their life.
Well,
Some of them assholes, though. I'll tell you that much.
well, unfortunately, college prepares teachers to teach kids that come from perfect environments. And that's fine and dandy, but what are you going to do when you get a kid that doesn't want to come to school because he doesn't have a mom or dad that wants him to go to school? That's where the challenge lies. Teaching a kid that wants to be there is not fucking hard. Teaching a kid that has no reason to be there, he doesn't have a mom or dad that wants him to be there, but he's still there, those are the kids that are challenging to teach. But those are the kids that I enjoy teaching, because if you can create change within themselves, that says something, because that kid didn't have a reason to show up to school anyways. Like, if he doesn't show up, I can't call his mom or dad because he hasn't seen his mom or dad. Like, this kid is doing the shit he's doing just for himself. But then there's kids on the other side that just don't want to do shit because their mom and dad haven't done shit. So when these kids come to school, when the school is like, hey, we're going to suspend you, I don't care. Well, we're going to give you detention. I don't care. Like, I want to get suspended anyways. What are you going to do then? And
you have no clue what my hell is.
Yeah.
Joke. What'd you say? Cool.
Yeah.
So how'd you get the idea for your outpost when you were there?
Well, growing up here, I knew there was no resources at all. And then once I came back to teach here, there was still no resources. Like, nothing had fucking changed. It'd gotten worse. So one day at school, I had, I kid you not, a kid's dad came up to me, or his stepdad or whatever, and he hands me this piece of paper. And he goes, he's right by his son, and he goes, all right, I gotta go. And on this piece of paper, he signed his son's rights away to the school or to me on a piece of paper. Like, that shit's not even legal, but he did it. Hey, I can't take care of so-and-so no more. I'm handing him over to you. Like, just do what y'all can. A kid that's, like, in the 9th grade. And then I would see just the same shit, you know? Like, kids showing up to school late, wearing the same clothes they've been wearing, kids that looks like they haven't fucking slept. Mostly because the shit that they see at home. And as a teacher, I can't get upset as a kid at a kid that can't focus because all the shit they had to go through the night before. And schools don't think about that enough, and a lot of teachers don't. but I do because I grew up here. I seen kids live it, and then I worked in the juvenile setting, and that's when I realized, the universe put me there to create this opportunity for my facility here. It finally started adding up, So I went to the school board and I said, look, it's this simple. Nothing has changed here. The poverty is worse. The drugs are worse. If kids don't have a resource outside of school, let's be honest, pardon my French, but we're all fucked. Because what schools do is they focus on the kids that have a good mom and dad. The parent that owns the dealership, the mom that runs the bank, so-and-so's son that his dad's on the school board. We focus on those kids because it's easy and it's convenient. But the kids that come from these broken homes, they usually get swept under the rug. And I've never thought that was right. So I told them the majority of the issues we see in school is because kids don't have anything outside of school. Like for most kids, school is their safe place. Like that's the only time they can be a fucking kid and not worry about having to take care of their little brother and sister and shit like that. So I told them, hey, we need to get a facility up and going. If we don't, we're going to fail a lot of kids. And I got told it's too much work, it's too much money. Big businesses won't want to invest because it's a small town. The kids here won't buy into it. It's a waste of time. And that's when I was like, fuck it, I'll do it on my own. And that's when I realized, I was going to have to do it. Because once I tell people I'm going to do something,
I say necessity is the mother of invention. And, although your other counterparts and your two previous employment endeavors they probably saw deficiencies. Like you said, they would call you after the fact and say they were with you or whatever. But they weren't willing to sacrifice their life for it. I'm not saying in a morbid way. I mean, literally, it takes not only what you're supposed to do, your prerequisites and all that shit to collect a paycheck, but you actually got to care and dedicate some of your own personal time. And some of these people got families and all that shit. So they know I'm not going to get emotionally involved because there's nothing I could do. But you literally dedicated your life to these kids. So you saw it.
So after you made that fucking statement to the school board, then what happened?
Of course, everyone was calling me. It was 50-50. When I put a thing out on Facebook, I have it saved. I'll send it to you. It's from like 4 years ago. It was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to create this outreach center. And it was 50-50. Like, oh, yeah, we know you're going to be able to do it. Like, it's going to be awesome. But then I had the critics. Yeah, we'll see. A lot of people talk shit and this and that. And I mean, I knew being in a small town, people aren't excited about change. So I knew it was going to take a lot of work because there's not a lot of shit here. So there's not a lot of money to go get when it comes to donations and shit like that. So I knew, I just realized and I accepted the fact that I was going to have to suffer a lot. I was going to have to sacrifice a lot. And it was just something that I was going to have to fucking do. Because I asked myself, if not me, then who? Like, if I don't do this for the kids, who the fuck's going to come up behind me and do it?
You see, you that's your warrior nature.
Yeah.
You're not scared of the fight.
Yeah, so
whatever. To you, it's what when it's all said and done. That's what it's about. So everyone else was scared of the road. You were like, fuck this, let's do this.
Yeah,
fighter.
There is no fucking justice, just us.
Yeah. So that night, I went to my classroom where I had this big ass dry erase board, and I started writing down all my fucking ideas. I wrote down everything I wanted it to be, everything I wanted it to be. I knew I didn't want it to be like every other facility where kids can just, bullshit and smoke and slap box and do whatever the fuck they want.
It wasn't to put the cami netting up there.
Yeah.
That was your idea?
No, the idea for the cami netting, was that yours?
Behind you on the roof ceiling.
Yeah, man, I'm actually proud of that too because the company wanted to cover all that up for like $5,000.
Yeah.
There's nothing back. I'll show you around in a minute, but I'm like, what the fuck? So I ordered this shit for like $40 and completely did it in like 10 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah, you gotta do it yourself. See, that's how you save money. You gotta do everything yourself.
So tell me about the fundraising part of that. How'd that shit go down?
I would show up to school about 5 a.m. and I would just research different companies, and I would write companies down, phone numbers, emails, anyone I seen on Facebook, and then I just had an Instagram. So literally, I was just cold calling people. I would go to businesses. I would literally just do whatever I had to do to bring in any type of money. But the thing is, the town, there's nothing here. So when businesses like, oh yeah, we've heard people say they're going to do this, and then they don't follow through. So I knew people would invest in the end goal, but I knew it was going to be hard to get it up and going, because people want to invest in the final product, but not a lot of people want to invest in the actual vision or the dream, you know? So I would just call companies. I would show up at businesses. I'd introduce myself, and it was hard being covered in tattoos because they already look at you like they don't want to talk to you around here, you know? So my first objective was to find a building that I knew would work, that kids could have access to. I needed to figure out how much money I needed to raise to buy it. I kept it simple, man. I took a photo of the fucking building. I sent it to companies and be like, this is what I can make it to be if you will invest in it. Here's how many kids want to do it. Here's the poverty rate, this and that. So, man, there would be days where I would drive to a meeting in Oklahoma City, and I would pretty much get told I was fucking stupid and wasting my time. And then there were days where I would have random companies come in and want to donate. But for the most part, man, I didn't have a board of advisors or nothing, man. It was just me for 11 months is how much it took me to get it all raised, and that was just to buy the building.
So you found a building, and then you raised a certain amount of capital, whatever that is. So then tell me that story.
So yeah, I raised the money in full because I didn't want to rely on the government, as we can all see now. Why? There's a shit ton of grants and stuff, but people don't understand the grants. You have to structure your shit around the grant. We'll give you $20,000 if you teach, 5 Native American kids how to play violin or some shit like that. And I knew what my mission needed to be, and I just wanted to pay for the building in full because I didn't want to have a monthly overhead. That was one less thing that I would have to stress about. Then I could focus on building it up. So it took me right at 11 months to finally raise the money to buy it in full. So yeah, I bought it. We had a cool moment down here where, hey, you bought this building, and then 30 seconds later, I had my oh shit moment, like, hey, I bought a building that was built in 1910 that needs a shit ton of work, and I have no fucking idea what I'm doing, but I'm like, this is awesome. I'm fucking excited. So yeah, I didn't have any money to, back then, Oklahoma was dead last when it comes to teacher pay, and I'm pretty sure we still are. So I was having to take money out of my own shit at times just to do what I could to keep the money raised. So every construction company I talked to about renovating it, they all wanted to charge me way too much money, and I just didn't have it. And then I got resourceful. I realized I had a shit ton of kids that I worked with at the school that needed some money, that needed a place to be. So I held a meeting in my class one day. I let them know, hey, if you want a little money and you want to be a part of something cool, come up to my room. And I had a shit ton of kids show up, and I told them, hey, I bought this shitty old building. It's ran down. It's going to take a crap ton of work. But if you invest in this, I promise you the end result, you're going to have your own badass facility that you'll get to call your own. I'll give you each your own fucking key. You just have to suffer with me because it's going to suck a little bit. And fortunately, the kids have known me, for working with, just getting to know them. So
You're giving them trust. If not just trust physically, by giving them that key again, you're giving them a second chance and trust where they have someone else that they could disappoint, and they're expected to disappoint, but you're like, I'm trusting you not to disappoint me. You know what I mean? That's dope.
Yeah, and not only that, everything I hear around here is kids don't take pride in being from here. And I'm like, I wouldn't fucking take pride from being from here anyways. Like, you're not giving them anything to be prideful about. So I got this group of kids And I legit just went to a hardware store and just bought a bunch of shit because this place was a fucking wreck. And my mom came down one day, and I had, 20-something kids on scaffoldings, on ladders, just tearing shit down. And my mom about freaked out, because she would do it by the book. They're like, oh, what the hell are you doing? Like, you need to get a contractor and a design and this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm just going to keep going and just figuring it out,
We wait for all that. Forget it. This will never be built.
Yeah, and it's...
Not only that, I don't got the money to afford all that shit. We doing it right now. Yeah. Lower the gate. Put cardboard on the windows.
I'll call you in a month.
Yeah, and people would stop in, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, this is cool, but they'd see how ran down it was, and it looked fucking horrible. And they'd be like, yeah, let me know when it gets done, and, I'll come help. Or, people, but I told my kids that. I'm like, look, people's not going to want to help us right now because there's nothing in it for them. Like, I'm not giving people money to help me. Like, nobody can see the end goal. I'm like, but I'm telling you what this place will be if you just commit and, so...
That's like the same thing as people that go to the soup kitchens on Thanksgiving only. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, that shit is sadistic to me, bro. Like, you really? That's your penance for being an asshole all year?
Yeah.
Then I go.
But yeah, I mean, at this point, we still didn't have electricity. We didn't have running water. So my kids had these little flashlights they wore on their hats at night. Some nights they'd stay till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., just depending on... Each week I'd set a go, hey, we need to have all this shit down by Friday. If you do, I'll give you all a bonus. And they'd be like, all right, cool. And one night on a Friday, they were supposed to have everything done on a Saturday. So I'm leaving at like 5, and I'm thinking there's no way they're going to get fucking done. So I give them money to go eat on. Well, about 2 a.m., the cops call me, and they're like, hey, we think someone's breaking into your building. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I show up, and it's my kids. They took the money for the food and went to the store and bought headlamps with flashlights so they could work through the night so they could get the job done and get the bonus.
That's good shit, man. So you get the fucking thing built, and then you start getting some attention from the fucking local government. So tell me how that meeting goes with you and your kids and some of the local fucking bureaucrat pussies. Tell me how that happens.
So yeah, man, it was just a slow process. I pretty much documented the whole thing on my Facebook and Instagram, so people were like tracking with the progress we were making and stuff like that. And then once we got it to like where it is today, which took me about another year, so it took me 2 years just to get it to what it is today. Now we've had more people want to come in and check it out and see what it's all about. And yeah, it's cool because I'm doing the same shit I was doing in the juvenile center.
Man, I just want to say, honestly, it's okay to suck that shit in because this isn't off of that one bullshit little exposure. That shit right there ain't why you got your legwork, your dedication, your persistence. That's what got you. Those people, fuck that they're cloud chasing. Who gives a shit? You sent out the call and they answered. All right, it's okay. You could take that shit. They want to take that shit.
Dude, he's playing the fucking long game.
Yeah.
What I'm referring to is, didn't you have some senators in there, and this is with a group of kids you've been working with before? So you get the kids in there, and I want you to tell us about some of the meetings that you have with the kids, some of the reading assignments, and then what some of the physical training and things of that nature look like also.
So yeah, well, there's been a few times that my mom's threatened to beat my ass because I've had people ask if they could come down and meet the kids, and I'd just be like, no, like, this is just a private thing. Like, because when I was trying to buy the building, it was around the local election year, so I had a lot of politicians talking a lot of shit, but none of them were wanting to help me. And then once I got to this, then they wanted to come back around and take photos with the kids and this and that, and I just wasn't cool with that. But yeah, the few people that came in, I don't think they realized the type of environment they were going to walk in on. I think they were I think they assumed it was just going to be, just your average type of facility where kids are coming and going and this and that. And the first visitors that came, they came when we were doing a crazy team circuit workout. So I had about 28 kids down here, and I was working out with them, They showed up, and I walked up to the door. We had Slayer and Wu-Tang blasting. I had my shirt off, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, we're looking for Dillon Cooper." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's me." And you can tell they're like, "Whoa, what the fuck? You're him?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come in and kick it with us, So, I mean, yeah, we're probably at like the 9-month mark now to where we've been up and going like we are right now. There's still a lot of shit that I need to get done, but I knew it needed to get done ASAP, man, because there's kids that needed some structure, We've already helped kids get in the military and get in college and stuff like that, but people that come down understand what I'm doing now because it's at a deeper level. It's essentially my own school outside of school because I didn't want it ran by a school board that didn't know shit about these types of kids. I didn't want a board of advisors and all. I wanted it to be my own place where I could speak my own language to the kids, And some people just don't get it, but that's how I'm keeping so many kids in here is because, for one, what I'm doing with them, it's an investment. Like, coaches and teachers want kids to invest in them, but a lot of the coaches and teachers won't invest in them first. And that's what I always tell them. Like, if you want a kid to invest in you, you got to offer the first investment. Otherwise, they're not going to fucking do it. So most of my kids see me struggling to get this shit up and going. And from that, I kind of earned their respect. And then a lot of them were working with me. So I'm just all about leading, leadership 101, man, leading with my actions. Basically what my mom taught me, do more and talk less.
I like it. So, hey, man, why don't you give us a view around your facility, and then you're going to tell us how people can reach out to you and how they can donate if they're so inclined.
Gotcha.
Cool, man.
Can you see that?
Yes.
I saw some depth.
All right, hold on. I actually got some. I got some people right now showing up. I got some of my kids showing up right now. Let me let these people in.
Well, tell them to say what's up.
Here's a couple of them.
Cool. What's up, fellas?
Yeah, that's the camo netting.
Right. Awesome. I feel at home already.
Yeah, and then I got the table with the leadership books.
Nice.
Gotta have the POW flag.
Got to.
If you see that ceiling, all of that used to be ceramic tile that me and the kids had to take out by hand. So that's
that looks like fun.
Yeah, the flooring's about $400 per row, and I had to buy 28 rows total, so that was expensive. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, we got some pull-up rings. This is their Go board, where they write down all the stuff they kind of want to achieve.
Nice.
And then here, it's the final workouts they have until their first big football game. So anytime they start feeling sorry for themselves, I'll let them look at that. But what's cool is they write all this up there when they feel like it. It's not, hey, do this now. So through a workout, we'll have kids walk over here and write something new down. And so yeah, we got some. It's a pretty big place. We got some leg machines. I hung up my little fancy cool guy degrees and counseling certifications and shit like that. Got some bench presses. Got some punching bags set up.
You also use the exterior as well?
Yeah. We got punching bags set up and refrigerator, and this is about it. It's about 7,000 square feet.
That's awesome, bro. Awesome.
Yeah,
how many people you normally get in there on your workouts every night?
I could range between 12 to like 22, depending on who has summer jobs and stuff. But this is where they track their bench maxes and workouts and stuff like that. That way they can see the progress. These are some new kids
these kids are from another town in school, but they kind of like heard what we've been doing, so their parents have been driving them over every day, and that's where they keep track of everything right there. And then that's it, man. Just kept it simple. Like I said, I still got a lot of room for shit I want to do, but
Now it'll show up when it's time, man. So tell me about some of the discussions and some of the reading assignments you give your kids.
so yeah, well, discussions, man. I always wait to have them when I think it's gonna be something like meaningful.
Yeah.
I think kids are easily influenced because they're not taught how to critically think, you know. So a couple weeks ago, we had a discussion about everything that's going on right now, you know, like the division in our country and shit like that. The first leadership books that we're reading is The Extreme Ownership, that was written by, you know, the Navy SEAL.
Yeah, I know who it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm sure that book would bore you because, you know, you did that, but
Oh no, it's and I'm just fucking. Fucking Jocko's a great dude, man. He's doing shit. He's helping people. I got nothing but fucking great things to say about that guy. That's if anything, it's fucking a little bit of jealousy because he's a fucking black belt in Brazilian jiu-jitsu and he can do more pull-ups than I can. So if
yeah.
but no, he's a solid cat and he helps out a bunch of people and reading what he wrote can fucking help the right people. I'm got nothing but good
That's like
shit to
someone
say.
saying, "Hey, look, I was scouring the internet today and I found the world's perfect abs on a man," and you're like, "Fucking Rudy."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
So no, man, I got nothing, and I got nothing but good shit to say. I live in a glass house, bro. I ain't throwing fucking rocks at nobody unless you're a fucking asshole. Then fuck you.
Yeah, we had a few more kids show up. So if we don't start till 8, so you can tell a lot of them already understand the principles of being on time. So we usually have them filling in to about 7:45, and then we get rocking and rolling about 8. Get the workout going, and then we usually do a discussion after a workout. So y'all want to see the downtown?
Sure.
Y'all's gonna laugh at this.
No, downtown we woke Oklahoma, man. It's
Yeah, man. So this is it.
Yep.
That's
That's
it.
what I expected.
That is it. This is another one of my kids. Caleb, tell the dudes, tell them I said hello. A couple of my buddies. That's Caleb.
Cool.
Pimping. He got the car and all that.
That's it.
He just came back from a date.
This is downtown, man.
Well, good. I'm glad you got your facility there, bro.
It
Looks like
nice,
you're doing
Man. It look nice and peaceful, man. I look chill. I dig it.
like you're helping a bunch of people out. That's good shit. That's awesome. So how do our fucking listeners reach out to you to help out? Other than the tattooed teacher on Instagram, Dillon Cooper, what else?
My nonprofit's website is nosurrenderinc.com. That's my
NoSurrenderInc.com. Gotcha.
Yes, sir. That is my official website. We have a donate tab on there. We have apparel that we sell, and everything gets put back into the building. Again, that nonprofit was started for me to help with, suicide prevention and stuff like that. And then once I wanted to get my facility up and going, I was like, well, shit, I'll just use the nonprofit to spearhead what I'm trying to do here. So,
well, I got to tell you that your facility, what you got going there is definitely fucking suicide prevention, because if you think those fucking kids that got nowhere to go, that don't have a mom and dad, aren't going to fucking run into drugs and stupidity, you're fucking wrong.
I'm getting a little bit of vibes from you. Like, you're like, because when you get into the financing, you're almost like in a speech, like you've said it before and shit. Like you're ashamed to say that you're doing God's work with other people's money, man. It's all good, baby. Because you know what? The world should pay you to do what you do. You understand? Like Steve said, this shit is mitigation from the ground floor, my brother. Don't feel bad. Be you. You get paid to be you. You be there with those kids. That's what you need to do.
Nah, man, he's fucking playing he's definitely playing the long game, and the reality is when so many times we see the negative fucking horse shit going on out in the planet, man, and we don't see the fucking regular fucking cats in there in the trenches all day every day. Nobody gives a hot bucket of fuck what anybody's skin color is. Who gives a shit about that? We're here about helping people out, man, and this is what Dillon's been doing from the very fucking beginning. And anything we can do to help him move the football down the field, we're gonna fucking do it.
I'm gonna tell you why I would invest in Dillon, because during that walkthrough, he showed us his personal plaque on the wall.
Right.
Where do people put mementos and personal things, items, to create their own space and claim dominance and say, this is my flag, basically?
Yep.
Yo, he's personally vested in this.
Dillon is about it. Dillon ain't talking about it. He is about
it. Even since he was working in the other institution. About it.
Man,
good job, man.
I'm glad you mentioned the suicide prevention, because I have two kids that were on all types of meds, antidepressants and shit like that, and they're completely off all that now.
Yep.
It's shit their doctors told them that they would always need, and their parents just didn't know how to handle it. And it's not anything they needed, they just needed to understand that, my philosophy is simple, like pain and discomfort and suffering is like the ingredients of life. Like, it's part of it. So I teach kids how to deal with that shit here in my facilities. So when they get in a situation in the real world, they don't become depressed or they don't develop anxiety, because they're used to me putting them through
every little thing blows them up, and this is racism, this is prejudice, people are going to be assholes. You can't let every asshole take you out of pocket, and we need to teach the kids that,
Well, and like you were saying, didn't you have a similar conversation like that with one of your kids when the senators were there? Somebody was failing to do one of the reps on the pull-ups, and you fucking stopped the conversation with the senator and went over to talk to that guy. Let's hear about that real quick, if you want to go there.
For sure, man. So I refer to it as the at least mindset. When kids do the bare minimum, but there's an asshole Oklahoman about to drive by with his diesel truck.
Right.
Welcome to Oklahoma. So,
weird too.
That's right.
Sharp, bro. Sharp.
I hate participation trophies. I hate rewarding someone for doing what they should be fucking doing anyways. And schools aren't set up like that. So a lot of stuff I see down here is what I refer to as the at least mindset. Okay, hey, before you leave this station, you need to do 15 pull-ups. And I count, and he only did 13. And I'm like, hey, man, why the fuck are you moving? You didn't do 15. And he goes, I know, but at least I did 13. At least I did 13. And that's the mindset that I'm trying to fucking kill here. Because I'm trying to teach these kids the way you do anything is how you're going to do everything, ultimately. And subsequently, if you fucking bitch out during workouts, during runs, during swims, during book studies, you're going to do that shit in the real world. And the real world doesn't run off of at least, If you're going to be a father or a husband or a leader, like, you can't apply that mindset because it's not going to be enough. And that's what happened that day. I just happened to see my kids, and some days I count just to make sure everybody's on point. And I was talking to him. I was talking to the senator, and I realized the kid only did half of what he's supposed to. So I cut the music off, and I called him out on it. And he gave me this thing, well, I did double this, or I'm tired from that. And I told him, to get his mind out of the fucking gutter, head back over there and finish his fucking shit, because he's going to try that shit in the real world and it's not going to fucking work. And I let him know that, hey, if you can't fucking beat this pull-up bar, imagine what the fuck the real world's going to do to you. Like, imagine what the fuck you're going to do when you find out your mom has cancer or you lost your job. You can't provide for your fucking kids. Like, everything I do here is on a such deeper level than just working out. So I called him out and I told him these things, and he was like, yeah, you're right. So he went over there and did 5 more pull-ups, and I let him know, like, look, apply this shit every fucking day, man, because we all have moments of weaknesses, but the way you go about your daily routines, it's going to set you up for fucking success or failure. But now my kids down here understand that too. So they hold each other accountable. Like, we're supposed to work out at 8 and it's 7:20 and I already have kids showing up because they know what the fucking standard is. And anytime they're late, it's not, oh, at least I'm a minute late. It's the door's fucking locked and you're not going to come in here. And if it happens again, you're fucking done. And people think it's extreme, but it's just the way kids need to be taught nowadays. Because like you said, we live in a world where everything is handed to you. And it's okay to get 4th or 5th place. It's okay to not do good on the test. And that's not what I'm about. I mean, I'm a dude that's made a lot of, stupid decisions, but I'm trying to lead by example. That's why I have my college degree and all that shit up there, not because it makes me feel good, but when I talk to kids about the importance of education, I have to show them something for it, or that's a double standard. I can't talk shit to kids about being educated if I'm not educated. I can't bitch to kids about being in shape if I'm not in shape. So everything I do here is leading with my actions. Once we get done, every workout, I'm going to be fucking doing it with them. And that's how I build a rapport. But through this tight-knit community that I have here, I've taken on the father role, even for the kids that have dads. Whenever they get offers to play football, they'll send me a message. Anytime they want to go talk to a military recruiter, it's just nonstop here. But it's like you said, it's just all about that initial investment. I wanted kids to invest in me, so I first invested in them, and that's where we are right now.
Well, bro, I'm going to correct you. You said that you're trying to lead by example. I disagree with you. I would say that you are leading by example, and you're definitely making a difference in those kids' lives, and that ripple effect's going to be heard across the world, man. And just so you know, we're going to do everything we can to fucking help you out. And maybe some point in time we'll be giving you a telephone call and we'll be swinging on out there, spend a couple days with you, maybe get a couple workouts in, maybe do just some film shit, just simple shit. You'll see Harold here behind the camera walking around, and we'll see what we can do to fucking, like I said, get the football down the field for you, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate the opportunity, man. I enjoy your podcast, and I'm humbled that you asked me to be on it, especially from someone like you that I look up to that, did his thing in the SEAL teams and is still going at it. So I appreciate it, because it's not every day people want to talk to you about shit that I'm doing, So thank you.
Well, brother, I got to tell you, it's absolutely my pleasure. But in comparison to what you're doing right now, everybody does what they do, but to go out there and to fucking literally put everything on the fucking roll of the dice and do everything that you can with no fucking benefit for you. You're doing this fucking purely for the kids. That's fucking next level shit, man. So I got nothing but admiration and respect for you. And like I told you, we're gonna do everything we can for you. And it's guys like you that are making a difference. And if people actually sat down and talked and fucking invested time in the kids and let them realize that the world don't owe you fucking shit. If you don't go out there and work for it, you ain't gonna get it.
That's before I say goodbye, I wanted to expound on what he said. The reason why you stop those kids dead in their tracks when they say something to the effect of at least is to infer that they are doing whatever it is they're doing, whatever activity they're engaging in at the time is for the benefit of someone else. And I'm trying to convince you that at least I did this much, when they should understand that they're doing everything, no matter what they're doing, for them. No one else gets any benefit out of what they do or lack thereof to do or choose not to do. So everything they do is for them. They have to understand it. Once you understand that, you ain't going to slack on yourself,
Right. Yeah, right now, everything's pretty fucked up with the way,
Yeah.
the COVID has everything.
Hey, at least this is the first time the whole world been fucked up together, though. You know what I'm saying?
Dude, yeah, I know, man. It's like I said, kids just don't know what to think because schools don't really engage them in critical thinking, so they're easily influenced. So with my kids, what we do is we have open conversations, about everything. I mean,
as long as there's a tomorrow, there's hope. Anybody's thoughts could change overnight, man. Anybody. That's the beauty of this country and capitalism in and of itself. You could be a bum one day and through some social media fucking attention and success be a fucking millionaire. Why? Because we enable that shit, motherfucker. That's why.
Yeah, I'll be sure and let y'all know when we kick off our next fundraising campaign, if that'd be something y'all'd like us to help get out there, because that would definitely.
Absolutely. We absolutely are interested in helping you out, like I said, any way we can. And I got your fucking cell, you got mine, and we are definitely going to be in touch. What happens is we go through a couple day editing process and shit. So Jason and Harold are going to sit down and do the smart guy shit. And when that happens, prior to us releasing this episode, we're going to reach out to you. And what Harold and Jason are going to do is they're going to take the image that we've captured right now from this podcast, and they're going to throw a graphic or something up on it, so it's going to look professional and all the sound's going to be together and shit. Harold and Jason do all the smart guy stuff. I just, talk to people and do shit like that.
Wow.
That's one of your guys going in there to get after it. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Flex for him.
That's right.
Yeah, he's gonna be a senior this year, so a lot of mine are getting ready for that next big step, and that's why I have that vision board, because once we write it down, we fucking execute it. We don't just fucking talk about it. Like, it's one thing to talk about it, write it down. Now let's go fucking execute it, and that's just kind of how I help them do it down here, So
well, that's the fucking secret right there, bro. Any motherfucker can talk about it. Very few people can be about it. And dude, you are all about it. So fucking God love you, bro. Thanks for everything you do, man.
Likewise, brother. I appreciate it, man.
All right, man. We'll definitely be in touch. You take care of yourself. And again, it's nosurrenderinc.com is your website for your 501c3. Anybody can reach out to you. And then it's Dillon Cooper, the tattooed teacher, on Instagram. So, bro, we will definitely be in touch.
I appreciate it. And I'm sorry that I'm stupid when it comes to technology.
Bro, I got to tell you, the only reason this podcast exists, and I'm not fucking talking shit now, only reason it exists is because of Jason and Harold behind the scenes. We started it because Jason and I had an idea. Jason knows all the fucking technology and shit. The only thing I do is talk to people. And I don't even do that well because I say fuck a lot and I say the wrong shit most of the time.
And I do this because Steve wants to do this. If y'all really knew, I hate people. I do.
Yeah, I know we've all heard the term the ripple effect, and I always tell people want the ripple effect, but they're not willing to make a splash. So that's what I'm doing here, man. I'm just trying to create a small splash to get the ripple going. So that's it.
Cool. All right, bro. You take care of yourself, man. We'll definitely be in touch, and reach out anytime. I'll be getting back to you.
Toroidal energy, the ripple effect. That's what you're looking for.
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
All right.
Out.
That dude's cool as shit. That fucking guy is making a change.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, that's it, man. A fucking great interview with fucking Dillon Cooper, the tattoo teacher. His facility in Wewoka, Illinois is the Outpost. His nonprofit is nosurrenderinc.com. And again, No Surrender Inc., 501c3. You can fucking reach out to them. And when 501c3, they have to keep accurate accounting so you can see where all the money goes. That guy, especially now in the current fucking situation where everybody's trying to fight us as a nation, this fucking guy is doing the exact opposite of that. He's starting at the fucking ground floor, doing what he can to help everybody. When you see the video, take a look at the fucking demographic of the fucking people in there, and you're going to see exactly what we're talking about. Nothing but great shit for that dude.
Doing the best, man. Once again, I just want to, commend, man. So very few people are, about walking the walk, instead of talking.
Raised all the money by himself.
No, but even in his actions, it was like, all those small little actions I was picking up on. I mean, that's like he's unwavering.
Yeah.
Morally, you understand what I mean?
Now he's like,
dig it, man.
Same situation with Mitch, if you remember. Same.
Mm-hmm.
This is it, man. What you see is what you get. They ain't no fucking talking about it. He'll talk to you about it if it makes sense.
Because to him,
this is who he is.
What other life is there to live if not this one?
Yeah.
If not, doing the best he can for the cause he feels is the most important.
All day, every day. And fucking like we talked about, man, if you can reach the kids, especially the kids that had a rough go of it, that's the fucking shit right there. Help the kids out. We'd heal as a nation if everybody fucking reached out and made sure the kids were taken care of.
Teach them that guidance at the end of the day, man. You know how many, how much fewer mistakes would be made if those that had went through them and suffered that had reached back and imparted that to some of the more receptive kids that and there still will occur, some shit, but not as much.
Yeah, that's why I'm hoping somebody fucking hears some of the shit we said, and you're like, you know what, man, I can do this shit. I can go on one more day.
As long as there's people out there, and I like that we put attention on them, the people that are doing it for the heart, for the love, just cause, money don't move them.
No, that fucking cat, man, that's him for sure.
Yeah, you could say it's still that bashfulness there of him having to speak about funding, you know what I mean?
No, good.
Let me tell you, there's people I know that walk around there when they talk about funding, they grab their nuts, like, yeah, I got the listen, you're gonna pay me from here. And then it'd be the most honest, humble individual.
Genuine, authentic, that fucking guy.
Comes to fucking money, it's just like, and then that one asshole will take advantage. My goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I hope that doesn't happen in his case. And like I said, man, we're gonna do what we can to help him out.
Yeah, I think he's on it, man. That was a good one, Steve.
All right, bro. Well, that's it. You filthy fucking meat sacks.